When most people see the Porsche 911 GT3 RS for the first time, they notice the giant rear wing, the aggressive vents, and the race-inspired design. It looks like a machine obsessed with speed. But the most interesting thing about the GT3 RS isn't how fast it is, it's why it exists in the first place. Most modern sports cars try to be everything at once. Comfortable enough for daily driving, quiet enough for long trips, luxurious enough to impress, and fast enough to dominate a straight line. The GT3 RS doesn't care about any of that. It was never built to please everyone. It was built to create the purest possible connection between a driver and a machine. And maybe that's exactly why people love it so much. One of the most fascinating things is its engine. In a world where almost every performance car relies on turbochargers, Porsche continues to build the GT3 RS with a naturally aspirated flat six. At first, that sounds like an old-fashioned decision, but it isn't. A naturally aspirated engine asks something from its driver. It doesn't deliver all of its power instantly. It rewards patience. It rewards precision. It asks you to chase every last RPM until the engine comes alive in a way that almost feels mechanical, almost human. You're not simply pressing the throttle, you're having a conversation with the car. Every shift, every corner, every touch of the steering wheel becomes part of that conversation. There's another detail that many people never notice. Look closely at the bodywork, the vents, the fenders, the hood, the suspension. Almost every line on this car exists for a reason. Most sports cars are designed to look fast. Then engineers figure out how to make that design actually work. The GT3 RS follows the opposite philosophy. The engineers solve the problem first. Where should the air go? How can we increase downforce? How do we cool the brakes more efficiently? Only after those questions are answered does the design begin to take shape. That's why the GT3 RS looks so different. It isn't trying to be beautiful. It simply refuses to pretend. Here's something worth thinking about. People often believe speed is measured in numbers. Horsepower, 0 to 60, top speed, lap times. But real speed isn't always something you measure. Sometimes it's something you feel. A car with less power can create more emotion if it communicates honestly with its driver. That's exactly what the GT3 RS does. It doesn't impress you with statistics. It impresses you with feedback. That's why owners rarely spend hours talking about horsepower. Instead, they talk about the steering, the brakes, the sound of the engine climbing toward redline, the feeling of carrying speed through a corner. Because numbers fade, experiences don't. There's an interesting paradox. Most people who dream about owning a GT3 RS will never use even half of what it's capable of. And yet, they still want one. Why? Because dreams have never been built on logic. We're drawn to things that were created without compromise, even if we'll never explore their full potential. Maybe that's why people can watch this car drive down an ordinary road for hours without getting bored. It isn't about going fast. It's about knowing that somewhere in the world, there are still machines built around a single idea instead of a marketing strategy. The GT3 RS reminds us that perfection isn't always achieved by adding more. Sometimes it's achieved by removing everything that isn't necessary. For decades, the silhouette has remained instantly recognizable. Technology has changed. The automotive world has changed. Generations have come and gone, but the philosophy hasn't. The closest possible connection between a human being and a machine. And perhaps that's the real reason why the Porsche 911 GT3 RS has become more than just another sports car. It never tried to be the best at everything. It simply became extraordinary at the one thing it was always meant to do.